Could you just first of all talk about kind of the impactful senior class and honoring them and what they meant to the program, and how big the opportunity to send them off with a win this week?
Yeah, because I think it's important, Colton, not to get lost that it is senior week. Not just Apple Cup, and 13 guys that have really been cornerstones of our program, and some just got here and some have made it through the whole time. And it is amazing just to have 4 of those guys. Renard Bell, Armani Marsh, Christian Mejia, and Jarrett Kingston are the only 4 to make it all the way through. But those guys, really since the moment I've been here have been tremendous guys. Have been the foundation. They've worked their tail off. And I just think this senior class to come in and gel, even guys like Dayon and Jay Lee and Rob and, some transfer guys that, when we first got here, we took Poulay and we took Mujahid and those guys have just been incredible for us. There's a lot of playmakers in this group, right? And a lot of guys that have really given a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to our program, and to send them off on a high note is going to be really important, and I know it means a lot to that locker room. But the trust that they have shown in me and in our program, I'll never forget this group of guys.
Renard, Jay Lee, Make, got any updates on those guys?
Yeah, Make, maybe more an emergency effort. Jay Lee's been practicing all week, and Renard be more of a game-time decision.
With this week, and we talked about it a little bit, about wondering more on the approach of a rivalry week, and is it kind of about, for you and the coaching staff, finding a balance between, you want to emphasize the importance of a rivalry, but also not emphasize it too much, and how do you go about doing that?
Well, let's be clear, this is not just another game. I want to make sure that is clear. Our guys know the importance of it. We understand it. But at the end of the day, it is about your approach of how you handle those things. And I'm always, challenging guys, no matter what our record is, no matter the opponent, our process needs to stay high. And the standard always needs to stay really, really consistent. And I've been around a lot of rivalry games. Back to my days, Stevens Point, Oshkosh, and North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Wyoming, Colorado State, and now the Apple Cup. And I've seen a lot of different styles. Some guys ignore it. Some guys overhype it. I just choose to understand the importance of this game within our program, and Coach Price sent me a text. We're focused on, every way, every day, outworking that opponent. And that's something that you don't just do for a week. It's a mentality that you got to try to build into a program for a year. And now it's time to cash in on that work. So I think our guys understand it, but we can't be tight. We can't be over-emotional. We got to be able to focus on your job in that moment to be our best. So it is a blend, and that's how we approach it.
Kingston and Wilson walking, I know they're listed as redshirt juniors and have eligibility left. They're planning on wrapping up their college careers.
We'd absolutely love to have Jarrett back. I think he's looking at taking an opportunity at the next level that we fully support. Any decision I don't think has been completely finalized, but at the end of the day, anyone that was in that mode that didn't want to play college football again, I want them walking if they don't know. Okay, Jarrett absolutely deserves this opportunity, right? So whatever happens after the season, he'll make that decision on what's best for him, and we'll be involved and excited for him. And Jack Wilson, just a bunch of things. It's time, and the eligibility was kind of weird. So the basketball side and the football side, the COVID extension only extended him in basketball, right? So we're just happy with what Jack's given us and want to send him out in the right way.
Jake, you talked about the rivalries you've been part of. This is not only a rivalry game, but it's also senior day. Is there anything you can say or do to help those guys get through this week easier, or is it they just kind of on their own on how they emotionally get ready for this game?
Well, I think you understand the emotions of it. Anyone that's really been a college athlete in your last game in Martin Stadium, a place that our guys love and I know our fans support them, there's always emotions in it. The best part is we already know it's not our last game. So it's just honoring their last game here. And I think that takes some pressure off of, hey, this might be it for me playing, right? It's just our last game here, so I think they channel those emotions. Friday night I let the seniors talk to the team, tell them about their experience, give them advice for the future. I think it's one of the best things that we do. And it's a moment where I just step away and I get a chance to listen. Gets me emotional thinking about it because a lot of those guys, just have a lot of wisdom about our place and what it takes, and some of the things that they say in those moments, our guys never forget.
Can winning this game last year was the first time anybody wearing a uniform had beat the Huskies? Can winning this game last year help you this year?
I think it gives you a vision of knowing what you can accomplish, but I said it earlier, last year's team won that game, and I hear a lot about defending or keeping we got to go take it, right? And that's the mentality of this team. It isn't about just being passive and trying to keep it here, right? You got to go earn it. So that's what last year's team did. I think it takes the pressure off all the talk of, it's been this long, no, it hasn't been that long. It's in this building. So let's go earn it, and let's make sure that we're taking this trophy back here to Pullman.
Has the fact that you've had no school made it easier to prepare for a game? Is it different? I mean, you guys are creatures of habit, so there's different. I mean, has that had an impact on how you have assembled what you're doing this week?
Well, I think the schedule has changed. We've allowed for a little more recovery, moved practice back. But one thing I talk about early in the week is a lot of guys want to be professional athletes. This is kind of what it's like, so what are you willing to do extra recovery, extra film, extra preparation, make sure our mind's ready and our body's ready to be peaking on Saturday. So it's an interesting approach to what possibly, could be down the road, and hopefully we've created habits that lead to our guys being really successful in the preparation.
Jake, how have the guys responded so far in practice this week from what you've seen, given the emotion, the extra emotion, given the hype coming into this one?
Yeah, today's practice was really sharp. I tell our guys all the time, when you choose energy when you walk in the building, that leads to extreme effort, and that leads to good execution. So I've just been really happy with the way our guys have gone through the preparation phase, and the physical side of it for us is done. Now we're 82 hours or whatever away from the game. There's going to be a lot of recovery and mental work. So come 7:30 kicking off, this place is going to be rocking. Our guys are going to be flying around.
And Cam yesterday said the first visit he had to Pullman, the first thing you showed him was the Apple Cup trophy. What do you remember about that visit for him, and how he's taken that in and maybe grown even more of an appreciation for it in his time here for this game, even though he hasn't played in one yet?
Well, it's definitely still fresh. We didn't quite get it in the glass till after New Year's, so when we brought him up, it was still around the office, and it's one of those things that you got to understand what that game means. I want to make sure our guys understand it, and it's talking about the history of it. It's bringing coaches and players back throughout the year and talking about their Apple Cups and those moments. And everyone knows when you're a quarterback and you win the Apple Cup, Washington State, you're a legendary quarterback, and I think that's a fun thing, and it's just exciting, and I always want our guys to know what that thing means when it's here in Pullman.
Coach, I know we're going to beat the Apple Cup like a dead horse here with all these questions, but today is 10 years ago to the day that was the last Cougar win in Pullman. I know you guys sort of broke the drought last year, but is there anything any extra motivation about winning it in front of the home crowd?
Well, I think defending our home field is always motivation, whether it's the Apple Cup or whether it's Game 1. So it's not something that we've leaned on. It's just this moment, this team, and what we need to do to win this game against a really good opponent. Okay, both teams that I think are peaking, right, at the last week of the year. It's important for them. It's really important for us. Got a lot of respect for who they are and what they do. So it's really just about this moment, and it's not external motivators. It's not external factors. It's what our guys need to do right now. So that's been our focus all week.
You talked about there's a lot of people whose favorite memory of the Apple Cup is when you won it last year. So of all the stories of all the coaches or players that came by, do you have a favorite story of what they talked about?
Well, you're putting me on the spot here. And we won it. I do want to say, not me. We won it last year. And I know, like I said, I got so many messages and texts and calls. I just kind of going through the videos and, obviously, I'm not trying to think one specific moment. I know 2012 was a big deal. Not one that stands out. I know you put me on the spot there, but it's not about sometimes the results, but as far as like what those games meant to those guys and the heated rivalry and even Coach Callaghan has been great this week because he was on the other side of it as a player. He's on this side of it now. And you just hear those moments and you can feel those guys tense up, right? You can feel the passion. You can see the, oh man, if I could have one more against those guys, feeling, So sometimes it isn't the result as much as it is, just kind of the passion for the game.